beautiful friends. What a blissful song. It's amazing when we have all these beautiful messages, just, with the beautiful melodies of creation. Very special. And so today is an amazing day, as every day is. And if it isn't for you, we'll make it amazing. Because today we will be receiving a beautiful transmission, and it's going to be all about love. And so, as I sit here with Divine Mother asking her, what is today all about? Of course, it is all about love. And so, let us dive deep into what love is and why it is important to be choosing love. So, again, I'll dig into the history of all the experiences I had and put them together to tell a story of divine love. When we are choosing love, we are actually choosing what recently I learned to be the creation principle. And so, again, recent experience, which was really 2 weeks ago, when I had the encounter with that level of creation called Ein Sof, or that has a sound of Ein Sof. I was told that us mystics, we have that big purpose, very big purpose, and that is to uphold the creation principles on earth. Now I think of it every day because, I don't get revelations every day, but when I get them, I know it's really important. So to work with it, to embody it, not to just be hungry for experiences, but also to really become whatever the guidance was. And so I think of it all the time, the creation principles. And of course, the creation principles are really the 12 beautiful aspects of the I am presence. They are the aspects of our divine self. And they have many different expressions, like, for example, wisdom, abundance, love, of course. But really, you can say in the end, it's all about love. And because we all say it all the time, it's all about love, it's all about love, then kind of we, sometimes lose the meaning of it. But the thing is that when we choose love, we are choosing, you can say, Divine Mother. We are choosing Divine Source. We are choosing to uphold the creation principles on earth. And there are so many people, as you know, who do not choose love to be the most guiding principle in their lives. And so that's why it's so important that we choose love, that we choose love within our own being, number one. And this is the interesting thing about love. Love seems to be relational, but actually we start with the relationship within to get to know the divine self. And then we do not violate the divine self by not being love, because the divine self can only be love. For those of you who, for example, follow or followed Ananda Mai, or you know about Ananda Mai, I don't know much about her, but I know Yogananda went to visit her, and so he wrote about it in his autobiography of a yogi. And I believe Ananda Mai, she was the saint, this beautiful expression of Divine Mother, and she never ate food, for example. But one thing that she said to Yogananda, she said, I have always been the same. And I don't know exactly what words she said, but this was kind of, the summary of it. And that is, she was saying, I have always been my divine self, because the divine self actually is never changing. It always is that infinite love. And so we are to become, for example, like Ananda Mai, unchanging love, just one thing, and that's love. And to be so connected to our divine source, to be so connected to the universal mother, that we cannot be anything else but that. And so that's why we speak about the personality not being so necessary, because we want to be the unchanging, and that is our divine self. And so today we will be again taking a beautiful step with Oren from that album that we've been working with in this beautiful lunar cycle, and that is claiming our power. And we are becoming that one love. So, I speak about the same thing all the time, and so I repeat myself all the time too, but it's okay, because, we are all experiencing evolution until we become all love. And so I, again, looked at all the different stories that I experienced in this lifetime that were given to me through guides and Divine Mother. And it started for me at the age of 4, which was an early age to start with my guides. And it was my Hopi grandmother who took me to a beautiful red rock somewhere in Arizona. And she asked me to go through the rock as if the rock did not exist. Now, it was kind of strange to me. And at the age of 4, I just really didn't understand the fullness of it. But she was also communicating to me as if I was really one of the star beings with her, so I should understand. And so I understood at the age of 4 as she sent me to walk through a rock to prove to her the power of the mind that the rock does not exist in a way. And she said, this is the purification of the heart. And so she placed kind of my own heart, my sacred heart, into my hand. And she said, show me the power of the mind, show me the power of the heart, and show me how brave you are to take a step through what seems to be a matter, like something, a hard rock that you cannot walk through. Show me your faith in a way. And so I took a step with all my courage. And courage was really the energy, kind of like, if I believe the rock does not exist, then I can walk through it. And so I walked through it. I walked through the rock, and in the rock, I was observing the sacred heart in my hand. And I could see how the heart is being purified. And when I came out of the rock, I looked at the sacred heart in my hand, and it was completely pure. And she, welcomed me and said, that's it. That's it. You purify the sacred heart, and this is what this lifetime for humanity will be all about: purification of the sacred heart. And so, it was a big message at the age of 4. And so everything since that kind of the day unfolded to be all about the purification of the heart. And so the heart actually is a portal. It is a portal. And it's really important to know it's not just like something so nice to feel love. It actually is the key to our thriving. There is no thriving until we fully until we fully open the sacred portal. And when the sacred portal is fully open, only then do we fully get to know who and what Divine Father, Divine Mother are, Shiva and Shakti. Only then they can fully reveal themselves to us and welcome us back to our wholeness as the child of God. And really, I got to experience all of this. So again, I'm always speaking from experience, which I think is valuable. So it's not something I've read. And that's why I can only explain it in my own words without any of the, words that might be even more beautiful and better. But this is how I got to experience it. So this sacred portal within us is the key. It is the key. And so every day we can make choices of love, and those are not difficult choices. So Yogananda, he was using language for the kind of people who lived then when he did. So he was using a lot of what I would call the religious language also, not just the yogic language. And so he spoke about things like temptation, for example, and he always listed the temptation as sex, money, and wine. And to me, this is so funny, but it's okay. What he was saying is that when people choose something first to be their God, they are not choosing the ultimate. And so what happens when we choose something as like our number one, for example? And so, for example, addictions. And this is not, addictions, for example. Addiction is actually fear. It's a very fearful state. And it is a fear of the unknown. It is a fear of freedom. It is actually a fear of evolution. Because as you know, if anyone experiences addiction, it's a circle. It's a constant repetition, and fear holds people in a certain situation that way. And so that's why, for example, addictions obviously hold people back because they are caught in the loop. And so that's why it's important to break through that, to liberate. That also liberates the sacred heart. Of course, money and sex and all of it, what specifically sex is not bad at all. Actually, the only thing is that none of this, I would say, I don't know anyone in this world who who has mastery, true mastery, because it was taken away from humanity a very long time ago. And it was nothing what people say tantra. To me, that's just another way of, saying let's have sex. And maybe that's not true, but I just want to say, once upon a time, a really, really long time ago, sex was very different from what it is today. And kind of humanity lost our understanding. And so then the yogis came and they said, well, it's better not to have it. And it's better to take all the life force and use it for our evolution. And so again, big topic, but I don't think we can recover it unless we go through a very, very, very big change of our consciousness and our understanding of what is life force. It's not something that we can even learn because, I've experienced the original creation. And so looking at our civilization now, even if people are very loving, it's just not something we can learn. It just has to become, again, our true nature. But the thing is that, of course, love has to be our number one choice. And when we choose love, we choose the divine. Yes, thank you, Gurga. Because at the beginning of all things, we didn't even have sex. Let's put it this way. But we felt incredibly turned on by life force. And so we perceived what today people would say lust and, feeling horny. It didn't exist then, but it existed as an expression of life force running through us. We felt kind of that way all the time, but not without wanting to get physical with someone. Yeah, so that's how I remember it. So again, I cannot even, but it's not the point right now. For this civilization is let us choose love. When we choose love, we're choosing something so special. We choosing the divine source, we choosing divine mother, and we choosing to uphold the creation principles on earth. And so what happens when this portal within us opens? How do we find that portal? For example, you can find the portal through a lot of breath work. So again, I recommend, if you haven't done so yet, if you can, work with Thea Rain. I know she already is doing level 4. She's running again level 1. And I think she has a new website, which is just thearain.com. And so if anyone can put it in the chat, that would be great. So what is choosing love? Great question. Number 1, when I met Divine Mother, the first night that I met her, the first night, she gave me this massive, massive transmission about love. It was bigger than life. I could not, until today, I have not unpacked it yet, but it's being unpacked within me. You know how it works. And it is simply that love is also something so much bigger than what the human consciousness knows. But we are all evolving into that love. The love is so big that there is no room for anything else. And so, for example, the human condition contains a lot of lower states of being. And so in these lower states of being, for example, we all have been infected with fear to some extent. Some people are very fearful, and some people have just little fears, but still fears. Sometimes the fear is a doubt. Sometimes, it has different masks. But that is actually the biggest virus in this world, because it is not the opposite of love. It simply is within us. And then whatever is within us, if it is not love, then it also takes place within us. And so we want to be 100% all love, because as you know, when we make room for something else, it's like creating a hole in our system. And then you can imagine there are a lot of hungry energies in this world who want to feed on beings. Actually, it doesn't have to be entities, it's simply energies. And they want to come in. And to me, everything is like, it operates on the laws of physics. So when the cup is full with love, there is no room for anything else. But when we take a little bit away and we make room for something else, then something else will simply flow in, and then it will be diluted love and no more 100% love. And so again, we are containers of energy, and that's why being energetically clean. Yogananda didn't, I know I mentioned this, but Yogananda didn't use the word protection. People ask him, how do you, protect yourself? And he said, I don't. I just love the divine with all my heart. And so what he was saying, his cup was full, and his cup was full with that love. which is not the love for another human being, which is not love for money, which is not love for, wine, alcohol, whatever addictions people can have. And then his love was so big, it was the only interest he had. So then there was no room for anything else. And so no entities, no other energies, no, negative thoughts could come in, because he was always keeping his mind on the divine, but on the divine that is within, and on the divine that is in all things. And that's the key. So in this world, for example, religions, they kind of externalized God, and they put God in the sky, and they say it's a guy. And so then people, when they pray, they would pray to this imaginary thing in the sky being God. And again, that takes away, the divinity within is the first point of connection. We need to find the divine self within, and really find the divine self within. So again, I always say there's a big difference between words, and then between words that are accompanied by a state of being. And so we can say as much as we want, I am my divine self, I am my divine self. But if it is not our true state of being, then it is nice words, at least nice words. But we want to truly, truly embody our divine self, so that we feel and see the divine within, and so that we see and feel the divine in all things. As you know, the divine creates, and let's call it our cosmic mother. So she creates through the 5 elements, and you can also say God creates through 5 elements. And so these 5 elements are in all things, really. And so then it is in the blade of grass. It is also the divine in an animal. And that's why, for example, one of the evolutionary steps that we are all invited to take is also to love animals like we love Divine Mother. Because she is in those animals. She's looking at us, even in tiny little fish. She is in that fish. And so, again, it's a shift in consciousness to be able to love all things without actually, and this is always the kind of the dichotomy of things. So then people ask, well, I have this enemy, I have someone who really harmed me, I have this super unconscious person who's creating so much harm, and so you are asking me to love them now. And I say, no, that's not how it goes, actually. So we just become that love, like you see here, Uncle Jesus, for example, in this picture. When we become all love, we also become kind of neutral, but extremely loving and compassionate. But we don't go just completely investing ourselves as someone who is still in deep unconsciousness by sending them love. We don't do that, because we become love. And so just like the sun is actually neutral, we become like the shining sun that is neutral and yet extremely loving towards just kind of all. It is detachment and at the same time illumination. Does that make sense? So this is our goal. And so that means love for nature. Now, I had one experience with what I call Uncle Jesus, just to take away, the religious kind of dogma from the figure. And so this beautiful being appeared just like this in my bedroom, which is also, it's always nice to see Uncle Jesus like this. And this was many years ago. I was in Berlin. And when he appeared like this, he took me into his light body for 24 hours. And I do believe that that's the story somewhere in the Bible. Someone told me where he did this to his disciples to give them a taste. But that's the whole thing, of course, these beings could illuminate us instantaneously, but they don't do that. They want us to get it. They do give us a taste, but then they allow us to take the journey ourselves, and they do support us. But if they suddenly took the journey away, and they say, here you go, Christ consciousness, here you have it, illumination, enlightenment instantaneously, then they would take away the journey of our own being. And so they give us a taste. And so he gave me a taste, and the taste was something that I was supposed to share with humanity. And that is that we all are evolving into our Christ self. It's good to know where we're going, because sometimes we get lost, in creation. We even get lost in dimensions. We get lost in so many different worlds. There are so many different worlds, and so many different beings actually do get lost because they forget that thing. It is just one breath away, and it is within us. It is always within us, but sometimes it is hiding within us, not because it wants to hide from us, but because we have layers upon layers upon layers. Sometimes the trauma, the whatever, resentments, whatever unconsciousness we have is what hides it away from us. But when we uncover the layers, I say we crack the code, it is all within us. How we do it, it doesn't even matter. Some people do it through spontaneous dance. Some people laugh. Some people cry. Some people pray. Some people meditate. It really doesn't matter as long as it is an effective tool that you love. Because when you love a tool, that tool is effective to you. And so again, some people just love the yoga and so on and so on. But to me, it's a multidimensional approach, and that's what we are taking here. We are working with our divine self to actually completely become it, to embody this amazing solar light body fully and completely, and to become incredibly responsible out of love, not out of anything else, not out of fear, but out of love. We become incredibly responsible with life force, which really is the gift. It is the gift. Yeah, if you want to call him Yeshua, call him Yeshua. It really doesn't matter, because it's all about our own relationship with the divine in the end, and not even having anything in between us and it, in between that love within. It is actually, I think, our destiny for every single one of us to have this direct relationship. And again, Jesus got kind of externalized, Yeshua got externalized. And so people now think it's a man that somehow, we need to worship. And so again, let us seek within. And I can tell you through my experience, as an ordinary human being who goes to work, who has a family, who does all the ordinary things, I simply have taken the path of Orin. And the path of Orin is what I share here. Again, I don't work for Orin Deban. I just share it because it worked. And I want everyone to have this amazing, amazing experience, because then life becomes so wonderful. And this is what Divine Mother told me. She said, and this was her words, teach people how to love life. And she insisted that life is her, and that the life is not the little life, but it's the big life. It is the eternal life. It is the life that is endless, timeless, always here, always will be. There is no life and death. There is only life. And so this was, many, many big lessons, but the ultimate lesson or request was teach people how to love life. And so I don't want to say I teach, but I share. And so in this sharing, I say every single one of us can have a beautiful, beautiful life. And not only the big eternal life, which is always beautiful, but also our small experience here as a human being can be very, very beautiful. And so I'm also grateful for the childhood that I had, and that I had some amazing caretakers and some not so amazing caretakers. So I got to experience consciousness, love, and also deep unconsciousness. And so when I emerged, I say, out of childhood, I also knew pain, and I knew what it's like to suffer, but it was okay, because I took the journey with Orin, and I transformed every single part within my being on the physical, emotional, mental, and etheric level through this work that I share here, so that then the reflection that we have in this world is actually what you would call divine perfection. And then once you have the experience of divine perfection as it is reflected back to you by Divine Mother, it also doesn't end there. It's like, oh, now it's all done, so, life is perfect. But no, actually, then you realize you have a whole new, consciousness. And now you can play with Divine Mother every day. You can play with Divine Source every day. And you get missions, and then you want to help everyone around you, because, and like to me, I always say I could not possibly charge for these transmissions here. I could not charge for these teachings at all, because then I would be in a whole new relationship with everyone. And so I want everyone to get the tools. I want everyone to be able to actually expand, and to feel the thirst and hunger for the divine, and to know that you can come, if you haven't done it already, to a place where you and Source are best friends. You are always best friends with Source. I always say we are all favorite children of Source. We are all favorite children of Divine Mother. There is no preference, you know, she loves us all. She really does. Source loves us all equally. And I always joke with Source, you know, I always say, you can joke so much with Source. You can have an attitude like the favorite child of a parent. And you can go and giggle and you can just look at the world and say, whoa, you know, where did you send me? Oh my gosh, you really thought I can handle this? And so the Source sent us here, Divine Mother sent us here, and they all had faith in us and said, you can do this. You can absolutely do this. And one day Divine Mother said, it's all up to you. And I said, what do you mean it's all up to me? It's all up to us. And she never answered. But so I take it as it is all up to us. You know, this world is up to us. And so, you know, there's always the two options. Do we sink with unconsciousness? And if we do, let us rise again. And, you know, absolutely, this is a game of sinking and rising. Some people sink and they stay at the bottom of things. But then when we rise, we help them rise as well. We do it within the families, we do it within the collective. But of course, you know, when you look at this world, it's a small, small, small planet. And so, you know, the divine beings, when they look at this world, when I'm up with them, you know, I say up with them because I don't know, up, down, when we are in cosmos looking at this world, it's a tiny little planet. And then so this tiny little planet, you know, it's good to have the perspective how little it is. And we are upon this planet. And when the divine beings look at us, they see the light of those who shine. They absolutely see everyone who is ready to pop. And so I say the gurus, the ones not on this planet, but the ones I specifically prefer working with those who are already in cosmos and not so much embodied here on planet Earth, because they get a new perspective, you know. And Yogananda also knew this, of course, when Sri Yukteswar, let's call it, died, you know, he left his body and he went to the astral world. So when he came back to visit Yogananda, he had a whole new perspective. And so to me, when we work with these divine beings, they already have the whole new perspective, so that they're not limited by anything in this world. And so it's really good to go to those. And so I know that they look at this world and they see us, every single one of us, they see our light body. They see what's going on. And so they say, oh, this is great resonance for Babaji. This is great resonance for Divine Mother. This is great resonance for, you know, Maha, and so on and so on. And so what we do here is always visible. And so that's why it's so wonderful when we can fully just dive into the divine self and say, you know what? Nothing else is actually valuable except for me, you becoming the divine self. And when we find some obstacles within, it's okay. It's totally okay. If you find that your human nature is in your way, it's fine. It just means, you know, we clearing. And so we're going to do a lot of clearing soon. But now, because we will be getting ready for March, for the beautiful equinox. But now let us go into the divine self. So I'll stop recording. But actually, I want to record what it is that we're going to do today, so that people know. I've been posting the videos, the recordings on YouTube. And so here it is. Once again, we are awakening our true spiritual power, which is always love, which is always light, and which is always selfless. And so today we're going to claim our power. And so again, when we go into this with passion, when we go into this with a certain attitude, like, yes, bring it on. I am making that decision today that I am fully embodying my divine self, and my human nature dissolves. I just become divinely humane. Bring it on. Okay. And so here it is. And this is track number... This is track number 7. So we are being transformed so beautifully, as you know, through our divine self. And we can remember throughout the day this light within us. Like we have the greeting Namaste. I think it means I greet the light in you. I see the light in you. That light is truly within us. And I can only say because I really have seen the light that is within us. And that's incredible. When the divine looks at us, divine beings look at us, they only see the light within us. And sometimes the light is a little dim, and it's okay. It still is there. And the divine beings always see perfection within us. The personality itself, that's another story. But the perfection of that light within us is always, well, it is perfect. It is there. It is whole. It is the wholeness within us. And I once had this amazing experience with, Uncle Jesus once again. And so he showed me how the divine beings see every single one of us and how they see the rainbow light within us. And even if it is dim, it is still within us, and that light is perfect. And he was showing me that light in, a homeless person. He was showing me the light in a beggar. He was showing me that light in people that live on the street, and so on and so on. That light lives within every single one of us. And that's why it's so important to be caring and to feel this oneness with all things, because it is the light that unites us. That's why we, also call it the I am presence. And as I am my I am presence, I am one with the I am presence of everyone. It is the divine within me is also one with the divine within you. And so this is the oneness of all things. Yes, ask to see the light. Yogananda taught that who asks the universal mother, she will respond, because, she is the mother, she has to respond. And so he always says, be like a crybaby, keep, bothering her in a way, saying, come on, mother, come on, show me the light. I want to see the light. Because after that, it's a whole new game. Then we don't see the personality self anymore. We only see the light. Again, it's wonderful to see it. Of course, I find it so helpful. Of course, it's life-changing. And so, as always, we practice, and we crack the code. And again, you just never know when, but it always happens. That's my experience. And so tomorrow we will continue our journey. And today also we will be repeating this beautiful transmission with Oren. But tomorrow we're going to delete our past. Now, I think we all understand the magnitude of it. Past really doesn't really have any power over us if we choose for that to be our truth. Because I know I have passed, like I said, I think I've seen it all. Like you have seen it all. The human condition can be very bothersome. And so when we delete it, then this is a new slate. And we are always creating our experiences. And it's good to have a clean slate. It's good to let go of all of it. Really, nothing useful. And this is going to be the last thing, I promise. I was so in love with my grandfather. I had a relationship with my grandfather that was, very, let's call it, out of this world, because I knew him from another dimension. And, we always have these very close connections that come with us again and again and again. And so I was so incredibly in love with this man. And so when he left his body, I was living in Germany and he was living in Czech Republic and Czechoslovakia. And so he came to me to tell me, he came to Germany to tell me that he left his body and he's not coming back. So that was our relationship. And so it was in the middle of the night. And so I decided to sit with him, with his, what you would call soul or his being, for 3 days and 3 nights, because he told me he could stay with me for 3 days and 3 nights before he had to move on to the Pleiades, by the way. And so I sat with him. I didn't go to sleep, and I was just sitting with him. And he was talking to me, and I was just crying the whole time. And I was laughing, smiling, crying, and all of it, because it was really sad and at the same time so beautiful. And so I asked him from his perspective, now that he was out of body, what was this all about? And he said, Adi, it was all about love. The only thing that stays behind is love. And that love lives in the memory of those who experienced you. And that is the only thing this was all about. It was all, he said, it was all about love. And so I want to say, you know, the past, we have so many stories, memories, stuff, but truly it is just love. And how much love we actually leave behind is important. And so this is the living legacy, is our love. And so it is. So tomorrow we are deleting our past. Yay. So that we can have a fresh start. So many blessings to all of you. And again, 5 p.m. today again, and then tomorrow 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. Thank you so much.